Hi everyone, welcome back. It's good to be with you once again, and happy Saturday Sabbath to you as well. Today I wanted to read 2 Baruch, the Apocalypse of Baruch. It's a long one, so I'm just going to get on with it, but I just wanted to say before I start that I really enjoy reading this one. There's lots of information in it, so I hope you'll enjoy hearing it and pick up on some wisdom from our Lord as well. So here we go. And it came to pass in the 25th year of Jeconiah, king of Judah, that the word of the Lord came to Baruch, son of Neriah, and said to him, Have you seen all that this people are doing to me, that the evils which the 2 tribes which remained have done are greater than those of the 10 tribes which were carried away captive? For former tribes were forced by their kings to commit sin, but these 2 of themselves have been forcing and compelling their kings to commit sin. For this reason, behold, I bring evil upon this city, and upon its inhabitants. It shall be removed from before me for a time, and I will scatter this people among the Gentiles, that they may do good to the Gentiles. My people shall be chastened, and the time shall come when they will seek for the prosperity of their times. I know I normally just read the scripture without giving opinion and stuff throughout, but when I read the first 10 minutes of this back in the past, which is one of my old videos, the purpose I was doing it was to explain how the resets and the wipeouts and the empty cities could have been caused by God, because the people inside them are sinners and that, and they've been wiped out. And as far as I'm aware, that pretty much explains it straight out. You know, so yeah, man might have been the people there killing everyone, but it was the will of the Lord to blot out the sinners for a time from the city. Anyway, back to the book, and not my opinion. For I have said these things to you, that you may bid Jeremiah and all those that are like you to retire from this city. For your works are to this city as a firm pillar, and your prayers are as a strong wall. And I said, O Lord, my Lord, have I come into the world for this purpose, that I might see the evils of my mother? Not so, my Lord. If I have found grace in your sight, first take my spirit, that I may go to my fathers and not behold the destruction of my mother. For 2 things vehemently constrain me, for I cannot resist you, and my soul, moreover, cannot behold the evils of my mother. But one thing I will say to you in your presence, O Lord. What therefore will be after these things? For if you destroy your city and deliver up your land to those that hate us, how shall the name of Israel be again remembered? Or how shall one speak of your praises? Or whom shall that which your law be explained? Or shall the world return to its nature of aforetime, and the age revert to primeval silence? And shall the multitude of souls be taken away, and the nature of man not again be named? And where is all that which you say regarding us? The Lord said to me, This city shall be delivered up for a time, and the people shall be chastened during a time, and the word will not be given over to oblivion. The world will not be given over to oblivion. Do you think that this city, of which I said, On the palms of my hand have I engraven you, this building now built in your midst, is not that which is revealed with me? That which prepared beforehand here from the time when I took counsel to make paradise, and showed Adam before he sinned. But when he transgressed the commandment, it was removed from him, as also paradise. And after these things I showed to my servant Abraham by night, among the portions of the victims. And again also I showed it to Moses on Mount Sinai, when I showed to the likeness of the tabernacle and all its vessels. And now, behold, another opinion, the tabernacle as well is basically round. You know, I know it's apparently rectangle at the moment, but when you do research on the tabernacle, it makes a lot more sense when it's in scripture about the building of it, that it's round, and 1/4 of the side is open So all the sacrifices were coming in, and then there was a circle hole at the top for the fire and smoke, the smoke to go out, and the fire of the Lord to come in. But I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I basically see the tabernacle as how the earth is as well. That you've got the plane and the dome over the top. But anyway, getting back onto it. And now, behold, it is preserved with me as paradise. Go therefore and do as I command you. And I answered and said, So then am I destined to grieve for Zion? For your enemies will come and take this place, and pollute your sanctuary, and lead your inheritance into captivity, and make themselves masters of those whom you have loved. And they will depart again to the place of their idols, and will boast before them. What will you do for your great name? And the Lord said to me, My name and my glory are unto all eternity. My judgment shall maintain its right in its own time. And you shall see with your eyes that the enemy will not overthrow Zion, nor shall they burn Jerusalem, but be ministers of the judge for the time. But do you go and do whatever I have said unto you? And I went and took Jeremiah and Addu and Sariah and Jabish and Gedaliah and all the honourable men of the people, and I led them to the valley of Kidron, and I narrated to them all that had been said to me. And they lifted up their voice, and they all wept, and we sat there and fasted until the evening. And it came to pass on the morrow that, lo, the army of the Chaldees surrounded the city, and at the time of the evening I, Baruch, left the people, and I went forth and stood by the oak. And I was grieving over Zion, and lamenting over the captivity which had come upon the people. And lo, suddenly a strong spirit raised me, and bore me aloft over the wall of Jerusalem. And I beheld, and lo, 4 angels standing at the corner of the city, each of them holding a torch of fire in his hands. And another angel began to descend from heaven, and said to them, Hold your lamps, and do not light them till I tell you, for I am the first sent to speak a word to the earth, and place in it what the Lord the Most High has commanded me. And I saw him descend into the Holy of Holies, and take from there the veil, the holy ark, the mercy seat, the 2 tables, the holy raiment of the priests, the altar of the incense, 48 precious stones, wherewith the priests were adorned, and all the holy vessels of the tabernacle. And he spoke with the earth with a loud voice. Earth, 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 hear the word of the Almighty God, and receive what I commit to you. Guard them until the last times, so that when you are ordered you may restore them, so that strangers may not get possession of them. For the time comes when Jerusalem also will be delivered up for a time, until it is said that it is again restored for ever, and the earth has opened its mouth and swallowed them up. After these things I heard the angel say unto those angels who held the lamps, Destroy therefore, and overthrow its wall to its foundations, lest the enemy should boast and say, We have overthrown the wall of Zion, we have burnt the place of the mighty God. And they seized their place where I had been standing before. Now the angels did as he commanded them, and when they had broken the corners of the walls, a voice was heard from the interior of the temple, after the wall had fallen, saying, Enter, you enemies, and come, you adversaries, for he who kept the house has forsaken it. Kind of like when the restrainer at the end times is taken away. You know, the wicked will just jump on everything. And I, Baruch, departed, and it came to pass after these things that the army of the Chaldees entered and seized the house, and all that was round it. And they led the people away captive, and slew some of them, and bound Zedekiah the king, and sent him to the king of Babylon. Excuse me. And I, Baruch, came to Jeremiah, whose heart was found pure from sins, who had not been captured in the seizure of the city. And we rent our garments, we wept, and mourned, and fasted 7 days. And it came to pass after 7 days, that the word of God came to me, and said unto me, Tell Jeremiah to go and support the captivity of the people unto Babylon. But do you remain here amid the desolation of Zion, and I will show you after these days what will befall the end of days. And I said to Jeremiah as the Lord commanded me, and he indeed departed with the people. But I, Baruch, returned and sat before the gates of the temple, and I lamented with the following lamentation over Zion, and said, Blessed is he who is not born, or he who having been born has died. But as for us who live, woe unto us, because we see the afflictions of Zion, and what has befallen Jerusalem. I will call the sirens from the sea, and you, Lilin, come you from the desert, and you, Shedim, and dragons from the forests. Awake and gird up your loins unto morning, and take up with me the dirges, and make lamentation with me. Ye husbandmen, sow not again, and O earth, wherefore give your harvest fruits? Keep within you the sweets of your sustenance. And now, vine, why further do you give your wine? For an offering will not again be made from there in Zion. Nor will first fruits again be offered. And do ye, O heavens, withhold your dew, and open not the treasuries of rain. And do thou, O sun, withhold the light of your rays. And do thou, O moon, extinguish the multitude of your light. For why should light arise again, when the light of Zion is darkened? And you bridegrooms, enter not in, and let not the brides adorn themselves with garlands. And you women, pray not that you may bear, for the barren shall above all rejoice. And those who have no sons shall be glad, and those who have sons shall have anguish. For why should they bear in pain, only to bury in grief? Or why again should mankind have sons? Or why should the seed of their kind again be named? Where this mother is desolate, and her sons are led into captivity. From this time forward speak not of beauty, and discourse not of gracefulness. Moreover, you priests, take the keys of the sanctuary, and cast them into the height of heaven. Give them to the Lord, and say, Guard your house thyself, for lo, we are found false stewards. And you virgins who weave fine linen, and silk with gold of Ophir, take with haste all these things, and cast them into the fire, that it may bear them to him who made them. And the flame send them to him who created them, lest the enemy get possession of them. So another point where I'm going to stick my opinion and thoughts in. This is all of the old times, not long after the flood and that. And they're wearing silk with gold of Ophir, just like what I was trying to say in other videos where, we're more advanced in the past, and they're all living in star forts and that, and somewhere, when the Lord comes back in the future and the desert places, the derelict places and deserted places become the habitation of the elect, there's going to be fortified towns and that again. And when I heard that, whatever scripture it was the other day, I can't remember, it made me think that, maybe the fallen angels did create all the old star forts that we've got here on earth at the moment. Maybe the Lord did, I don't know. Obviously the Lord created everything, but yeah, anyway. Moreover, I, Baruch, say this to you, Babylon. If you had prospered, Zion had dwelt in her glory, yet the grief to us had been great, that you should be equal to Zion. But now, lo, the grief is infinite, and the lamentation measureless. For lo, you are prospered, and Zion desolate. Who will be judged regarding these things? Whom shall we complain regarding that which has befallen us? O Lord, how have you borne it? Our fathers went to rest without grief, and lo, the righteous sleep in the earth in tranquillity. For they knew not this anguish, nor yet had they heard of that which has befallen us. Would you had ears, O earth? And would you had a heart, O dust, that you might go and announce in Sheol, and say to the dead, Blessed are you more than who live. Sorry, there's parts here as well where it's showing the Greek version of it. I'm just going to stick to the left and read that. But I will say as I think, and I will speak against you, O land which ought prospering. The noonday does not always burn, nor do the rays of the sun constantly give light. Do not expect land hope that you will always be prosperous and rejoicing. And be not greatly uplifted and boastful, for assuredly in its own season shall the divine wrath awake against you, which now in long suffering is held in as where it was by rains. When I had said these things, I fasted 7 days. And it came to pass after these things, that I, Baruch, was standing upon Mount Zion, and lo, a voice came from the height and said to me, Stand on your feet, Baruch, and hear the word of mighty God. Because you have been astonished at what has befallen Zion, you shall therefore be assuredly preserved to the consummation of the times, that you may be for a testimony. So that if ever those prosperous cities say, What have the mighty God brought upon this retribution? Say you unto them, you and those like you, who shall have seen this evil. This is the evil and retribution which is coming upon you, and upon your people, in its destined time, that the nations may be thoroughly smitten. And then they shall be in anguish. And if they say at that time, For how long will you say to them, Ye who have drunken strained wine, drink also of the dregs, the judgment of the lofty one, who has no respect of persons. On this account he had aforetime no mercy on his own sons, but afflicted them as his enemies, because they sinned. Then therefore they were chastened, that they might be sanctified. But now, you peoples and nations, you are guilty, because you have always trodden down the earth, and used the creation unrighteously. For I have always benefited you, and you have always been ungrateful for the beneficence. And I answered and said, Lo, you have shown me the method of the times, and that which will be after these things. And you have said to me, that the retribution which is spoken of by you shall come upon the nations. Now I know that those who have sinned are many, and they have lived in the prosperity and departed from the world. But the few nations will be left in those times, to whom these words shall he said, which you did say. That makes sense. For what advantage is there in this? Or what evil worse than what we have been befallen us are we to expect to see? But again, I will speak in your presence. What have they profited, and who had knowledge before you, and have not walked in vanity as the rest of the nations? And have not said to the dead, Give us life, but always feared you, and have not left your ways. And lo, have been carried off, nor on their account have you had mercy on Zion. And if others did evil, it was due to Zion, that on account of the works of those who had wrought good works, she should be forgiven, and should not be overwhelmed by the account of the works of those who wrought unrighteousness. But who, O Lord, my Lord, will comprehend your judgment? Or who will search out the profoundness of your way? Or who will think out the weight of your path? Or who will be able to think out your incomprehensible counsel? Or who of those that are born has ever found the beginning or end of your wisdom? For we have all been made like a breath. For as the breath ascends involuntarily, and again dies, so is it with the nature of men, who depart not according to their own will, and know not what will befall them in the end. For the righteous justly hope for the end, and without fear depart from this habitation, because they have with you a store of works preserved in treasuries. On this account also, these without fear leave this world, and trust in joy they hope to receive the world which you have promised them. But as for us, woe to us, who also are now shamefully entreated, and at the time look forward only to evils. But you know accurately what you have done by means of your servants. For we are not able to understand that which is good as you art, our Creator. But again I will speak in your presence, O Lord, my Lord. When of old there was no world with its inhabitants, you did devise and speak with a word, and forthwith the works of creation stood before you. And you did say that you would make for your world man as the administrator of your works, that it might be known that he was by no means made on account of the world, but the world on account of him. And now I see that as for the world which was made on account of us, lo, it abides, but we, on account of whom it was made, depart. And the Lord answered and said to me, You are rightly astonished regarding the departure of man, but you have not judged well regarding the evils which befall those who sin. And as regards what you have said, that the righteous are carried off and the impious are prospered. And as regards what you have said, man knows not your judgment. On this account hear, and I will speak to you, and hearken, and I will cause you to hear my words. Man would not rightly have understood my judgment, unless he had accepted the law, and I had instructed him on the understanding. But now, because he transgressed wittingly, yea, just on this ground that he knows about it, he shall be tormented. And as regards what you did say touching the righteous, that on account of them this world has come, so also again shall that which is to come on their account. For this world is to them a strife and a labour with much trouble, and that accordingly which is to come a crown with great glory. And I answered and said, O Lord, my Lord, lo, for the years of this time are few and evil, and who is able in his little time to acquire that which is measureless? The Lord answered and said to me, With the Most High account, it is not taken for a time, nor for a few years. For what did it profit Adam that he lived 930 years, and transgressed that which he was commanded? Therefore the multitude of time that he lived did not profit him, but brought death, and cut off the years of those who were born from him. Wherein did Moses suffer loss, and that he lived only 120 years, and, insomuch he was subject to him who formed him, brought the Lord to the seed of Jacob, and lighted the lamp for the nation of Israel. And I answered and said, He that lighted has taken from the light, and there are but few who have imitated him. But those many whom he has lighted have taken from the darkness of Adam, and have not rejoiced in the light of the lamp. And he answered and said to me, Wherefore at that time he appointed for them a covenant, and I said, Behold, I have placed before you life and death. And he called heaven and earth to witness against them, for he knew that this time was but short, but that heaven and earth endure always. But after his death they sinned and transgressed, though they knew that they had the Lord reproving them, and the light in which nothing could err. Also the spheres which testify, and me. Now regarding everything that is, it is I that judge, but do not take counsel in your soul regarding these things, nor afflict thyself because of which have been. For now it is the consummation of the time that should be considered, whether of business, of prosperity, or of shame, not the beginning thereof. Because if a man be prospered in his beginnings, and shamefully entreated in his old age, he forgets all that he prospered that he had. And again, if a man is shamefully entreated in his beginnings, and at his end is prospered, he remembers not his evil which is entreatment. And again hearken, though each one were prospered all at that time, all the time from the day on which death was decreed against those who transgress, and in its end was destroyed, and in vain would have been everything. Therefore, behold, the days come, and the times shall hasten more than the former, and the seasons shall speed on more than those that are past, and the years shall pass quickly than the present years. Therefore I have taken away Zion, that I may more speedily visit the world in its season. Now therefore hold fast in your heart everything I command you, and seal it to the recess of your mind, and then I will show you the judgment of my might, and my ways which are unsearchable. Go therefore and sanctify thyself 7 days, eat no bread, nor drink water, nor speak to anyone. And afterwards come to that place, I will reveal myself to you, and speak true things with you. And I will give you the commandment regarding the method of the times, for they are coming, and tarry not. Prayer of Baruch, son of Neriah. And I went there, and I sat in the valley of Kidron, in a cave of the earth, and I sanctified my soul there. I ate no bread, yet I was not hungry, and drank no water, yet I thirsted not. And I was there till the 7th day, as he had commanded me. And afterwards I came to that place where he had spoken with me. And it came to pass at sunset that my soul took much thought, and I began to speak in the presence of the Mighty One, and said, O you that have made the earth, hear me, that have fixed the firmament by the world, and have made firm the height of the heaven by the Spirit, and have called from the beginning of the world that which did not yet exist. And I obey you, that you have commanded the air by your nod, and you have seen those things which are to be as those things which you are doing. You that rule with great thought the hosts that stand before you, also the countless holy beings, which you did make from the beginning, and flame and fire, which stand around your throne, you rule with indignation. To you only does this belong, that you should forthwith whatsoever you do wish. Who causes the drops of rain to rain by the number upon the earth? And who alone knows the consummation of the times before they come? Have respect unto my prayer, for you alone are able to sustain all who are. And those who have passed away, those are to be, those who sin, and those who are to righteous as living and being past finding out. For you alone do live immortal and past finding out, and know the number of mankind. And if in time many have sinned, yet others not a few have been righteous. You know where you preserve the end of those who have sinned, or the consummation of those who have been righteous. For if there were this life only, which belongs to all men, nothing could be more bitter than this. For what profit is strength that turns to sickness, or fullness of food that turns to famine, or beauty that turns to ugliness? For the nature of man is always changeable. For what we were formerly now we no longer are, and that we now are we shall not afterwards remain. For if a consummation had not been prepared for all, the vain would have been their beginning. But regarding everything that comes from you, you inform me, and regarding everything about which I ask you, do you enlighten me? How long that which is corruptible remain? And how long will the time of the mortals be prospered? And until what time will those who transgress in the world be polluted with much wickedness? Command therefore in mercy, and accomplish all that you said you would bring, that your might may have been made known to those who think that your long-suffering is weakness. And show to those who know not that everything that has befallen us and our city until now has been according to the long-suffering of your power, because on account of your name you have called us a beloved people. Bring to an end therefore henceforth mortality, and reprove accordingly the angel of death, and let your glory appear, and let the might of your beauty be known, and let Sheol be sealed, so that from this time forward it may not receive the dead, and let the treasuries of souls restore those which are enclosed in them. For there have been many years like those that are desolate, from the days of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and of all those who are like them, who sleep in the earth. And on account you did say that you had created the world. And now, quickly, show your glory, and do not defer what has been promised by you. And when I had completed the words of this prayer, I was greatly weakened. So, my video is probably going to end soon, so might as well stop it here. But as you can see, we're about, I don't know, a quarter or a third of the way down, so this will be 3 or 4 videos long probably. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that and heard the word of the Lord speaking with you, and yeah, I'll speak with you all soon. God bless.